Hello and welcome to my F1 25 driver career mode, here today for part 37 for the Belgium Grand Prix and our first sprint weekend of the season as well before we head into the summer break. So we come into sprint qualifying now where the sun is out and through the bus stop chicane for the first time. We have a big correction of oversteer there. We come up to the line. That first lap though is going to be slowest. We went again and we've got a bit deep into the bus stop chicane. We've found quite a bit of time now, 2 seconds, and now we come up to the line. We're purple in that middle sector. We're going to start the sprint, P11. So this is the grid then ahead of the Belgium sprint. Charles Leclerc is on pole alongside Alex Albon. Then it's Oliver Bearman and Lando Norris. Then it's the two Mercedes headed by George Russell. Then it's Gasly and Hakkinen, Piers and Yuki Tsunoda. We find ourselves alongside the Williams of Carlos Sainz. Then it's Verstappen and Villeneuve, Hulkenberg and Sonny Hayes, Piastri and Liam Lawson, Ocon and Colapinto, and on the final row of the grid is Jack Doohan and Gabriel Bortoleto. So then as the 5 red lights come on here at Spa for the sprint race, we're racing and sprinting here at Spa, and we've had a lot of wheel spin at the start there as we head into turn 1, looking to be later on the brakes for side by side with the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda. We've nearly clipped the inside wall, the pit wall there, and now it's a drag race down to Rouge, and we're pulling ourselves alongside Yuki Tsunoda, and now side by side through Rouge. Tsunoda backs out over the top of Radion, but that is a great move to kick off the sprint race. Charles Leclerc leads and he's pulled a big gap out. It's Bearman, they're 3 wide up the road in front of us, and now we try and get down the inside of the apex, round the outside to the inside. Can we get the Alpine as well, as now we head into that long right hander. We're up the inside, he's trying to keep it pinned around the outside. That's going to turn to the inside for no name, but round the outside we have that extra grip to get up into P8 on the opening lap of the sprint. It's been a fairly good one, and now we find ourselves behind our RB replacement of Mika Hakkinen to the inside, and we get him there, but he's still there on the inside of us. But like the Alpine, we get the extra traction around the outside on the racing line and move up there into P7. Been a good start to the sprint. We need to limit the damage to Charles Leclerc in the championship fight, but we are getting 2 valuable points currently in this sprint race. But Leclerc is on for 8 at the minute, as we're on the back now of George Russell in the Mercedes. We're going to go to the inside and we're going to get him like he's not even there. That's a great move on our fellow Brit. And now we move up into P6, and up the road next is the other Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli, to the inside of Antonelli heading down the Kemmel Straight, and we've got him just before the corner. Up the road next is Oliver Bearman, who put it in a mighty lap to get himself on the second row. So now we're on the back of Oliver Bearman after his great qualifying, and now we head down the Kemmel Straight. We're going to swap in the dummy, fake to the inside, go around the outside and move ourselves up into P4 now with just 4 laps to go. Can we hunt down a potential podium here at the sprint race? Just in front of us though, this is Albon and Lando Norris going wheel to wheel. Lando trying to find a way past the Williams. Can he? Yes he can. He moves up into 2nd place. Albon down to 3rd, and now we're trying to find a way to get on the back of this pack on lap 6. We're not that far away from Albon. We are slowly starting to catch him, but the tyres are starting to struggle a little bit. But we're struggling just to break that 1 second gap and get in the DRS. So as we skip on to the end of the sprint, this is Charles Leclerc. He's going to win the sprint. It's a perfect start to the weekend for Leclerc after the shocker of Silverstone. He wins the sprint race. It's going to be Lando Norris to finish P2, and we just couldn't catch Albon. He's going to finish P3, and we come home from P11 to P4. So that has been then your sprint race, the first one of the season, won by Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris P2, Albon P3, and we get a critical then 5 points in the championship. Leclerc only gaining 3 points on us. Oliver Bearman hung on then to P5, keeping the Mercedes behind. And then down at the back, everyone finished the sprint race. It was Jack Doohan who was last in the sprint. So the sunny skies of the sprint race have disappeared very quickly. This place very much has its own climate, and the rain has started to fall, and it's going to fall for the whole of qualifying. We're on the inters. That first lap though puts us into P9. We went again and we found quite a bit of time on this lap, 7/10 of a second, but we went purple in that first sector, and now we come up to the line and we cross it, and that lap is going to put us into P7 after we drop down a bit. Now we skip on to the end of qualifying. This has been one of the most perfect laps I've ever driven on this track. We've found nearly 2 seconds and we come up to the line to start the Belgian Grand Prix on pole.
Nice work.
So this is the grid then ahead of the Belgium Grand Prix. We are on pole, our first pole since Monaco, alongside Oscar Piastri. Then it's Piers and George Russell, Sainz and our teammate Leclerc. Then it's Sonny Hayes and Bortoletto. Ocon and Gasly round out the top 10. Then it's Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli, Tsunoda and Colapinto, Hakkinen and Albon, Villeneuve and Hulkenberg, Lando and Bearman. And on the final row of the grid is Liam Lawson and Jack Doohan. So as the cars make their way onto the grid now ahead of the Belgium Grand Prix, we're starting in the perfect place to extend our lead back out over Leclerc after he gained those 3 points on us in the sprint. He's down in P6, he needs to get himself through the field. It's looking like a fairly comfortable one stop today, but will anyone try that 2-stopper? So here we go then, the 5 red lights come on ahead of the Belgium Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go here at Spa, and we're straight over to cover off the McLaren of Piastri. But look at Piers up the inside of the McLaren. We keep them behind as now we're going to be punching a big hole in the air. But has Piers got Piastri as we head down towards Eau Rouge? He has. Piastri has to back out of it. That is a great move by the Apex. And now though, are we further enough clear to avoid the slipstream and the overtake into turn 1? I think we are. Piers is going to have a little look, but we keep him behind and we keep the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Piers up 1 place, Piastri down 1. But now Piastri is having absolutely none of it. Up the inside, he goes back at the Apex to retake P2 here at Spa. It's a good move there. Our teammate Leclerc has had a shocker opening lap. He's all the way down at the back. And this is Esteban Ocon. Haas had a good sprint, but he's slowing down here to retire from the race. That's a big engine failure. That Ferrari engine in the back of that Haas has gone bang. It has given up. Very demanding on the engine round here at Spa with the high speeds, but he's dragging it a long way with that engine failure, dropping a lot of oil on the track, and he's near enough on the racing line. But eventually he's going to find somewhere to park up today, and that we're going to get away without a safety car. But Ocon's day is done, and we were just pulling away from those behind. That opening lap battle between Piers and Piastri allowed us to pull out a 2-second gap, and then we just kind of stayed there. This is Charles Leclerc now after his bad start, trying to get himself back through the field, and he overtakes George Russell like he's not even there. It's a good move there by Leclerc, but he's dropped it and he's off into the gravel, and that's something Leclerc did not need. After Silverstone with the puncture, he needed a clean weekend, but he's bottled it again in the gravel at Spa, and that has brought out the safety car as well, as he sits at the side of the track and drops all the way down to near enough the back of the pack. Sainz also has retired as well, and that we weren't that far off making our pit stop, but we're coming in now for our one stop of the day. It's going to have to be a lot further than we originally wanted, but that is going to be surely another championship defining moment. If Silverstone wasn't won, it definitely is here at Spa. Leclerc in the gravel, and down at the back we go on then to the hard tyres to get ourselves to the end of the Grand Prix potentially, but ultimately keep our options open in this race. There's still a long way to go, but everyone here is pitting. Near enough everyone is in, but everyone is going on to the soft tyres. Surely that means they're two-stopping. There is no way you could get those softs from lap 8 to lap 22, but everyone is on the soft. So have we done something good or have we done something wrong? It's going to be hard with the tyre delta to keep these behind, but if we can get a good restart and get away, we may have a chance. At the end of lap 9 though, the safety car is in. We're going to have to get the gap back out. We were cruising up front, but now our hard tyres v the soft tyres, we really don't want to fight those behind too much. We're looking to get to the end. I really don't think they can on those soft tyres, but we're really going to back them up now. Let the safety car go out, back into the pits, and now through the final corner. Now we nail it and get away. Have we caught Piers napping? It looks like we have in the apex, and we've already pulled out a pretty big gap going into La Source at turn 1. We have run a little bit wide there onto lap 11 now, and we just couldn't pull away from Piers in the apex, and we've gone deep at La Source, and that might cost us here because Piers has got a great exit. He's going to go to the inside of us as we head down the hill through our ridge. I'm not backing out, Piers isn't backing out, but eventually he has to. But he's going to have another run on us with the DRS. He's going to pull to the outside, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about this. Piers is going to take the lead off of us. We're going to be later on the brakes, but he holds it round the outside and he takes the lead off of us and goes into the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. There's not much we could have done about that. But on to lap 13, we managed to stick with him, but his soft tyres did start to go off, and we're going to have him pay back and overtake him like he's not even there and go back into the lead of this Belgian Grand Prix, going purple in the first sector. And at the end of lap 14 we pulled 2 seconds on Piers on that lap. He's going to go onto the hard tyres. Not sure why he would go onto them with not that far to go. Surely the softs were a better option, but now we have the buffer. We can dictate what we're going to do here. 23 seconds is the gap between us and Piers. If that gap gets closer to 20 seconds, then we can pit onto the soft tyres. If it doesn't and it stays around the same, then we'll just go to the end on these hard tyres, and you can see the gap there on lap 17 is 24 seconds. We were actually starting to pull it out ever so slightly. Those hard tyres not really working. As we skip on now to the 22nd and final lap of this Belgian Grand Prix, we pulled 27 seconds on Piers behind, and we're going to round the final corner to make it back-to-back wins with Silverstone.
A difficult race then on one of the all-time classic circuits, but they've persevered to take the win here today.
And it's always good to get that momentum on your side, and it's really good for your confidence as well. The more confident you are, the further that can take you.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari.
So that has been then your Belgium Grand Prix. We win the Belgium Grand Prix, absolutely dominated that race, very much a strategy race after the safety car. We had that brief blip where Piers got us, but we got him back. We have won 4 of the last 5 Grand Prix this season, just Austria that outlier. Piers finishing P2, Sonny Hayes having a good race to get himself onto the podium. George Russell was P4 and it was Lando Norris rounding out the top 5. But down at the back, Charles Leclerc finishes that race in P15. It's another 25-point swing further in our favour. Silverstone wasn't really his fault with that puncture, but today definitely was. He needs to regroup at the summer break. And then there was just 2 retirements, that being Esteban Ocon and Carlos Sainz retired under the safety car. So it was Behrman, after a brilliant sprint, who finished last in the race today. And this is what it means in terms of the Drivers' World Championship. We now have a 62-point lead going into the summer break over Charles Leclerc. It was 15 points, the gap, just 2 races ago when we came out of Austria. Lando Norris is P3, Albon is P4, and Piers, with that great weekend, moves up into P5. And then down at the bottom of the table, it is Jack Doohan who is bottom, and there's still a lot of drivers still yet to score after the first half of the season. So this is what it means then in terms of the Constructors' World Championship. We extend our lead even more, the gap 124 points. Apex, with that good weekend, move up into P3, Williams are down to P4, and then it is Red Bull who round out the top 5, and it is still just Sauber who are still yet to score this season. So that has been then your Belgium Grand Prix weekend. It was a damage limitation sprint race and it was a dominant race win. We have a very healthy points lead over our championship rival after the first half of the season. We go though after the summer break to Zandvoort, where we will be racing in reverse. I'll see you then. Goodbye.